Hey, beautiful. It has been a minute since I've recorded a podcast episode and put something new out. These past months have just been hectic with moving to a different country and moving into my $1 million dream apartment. And I have so much to share with you, but today we're not going to talk about that. Today we're going to talk about how to distinguish between your intuition and your ego mind, which is the voice of anxiety or fear. And we're also going to talk about ways to develop your intuition so that you can learn to not only listen to it, but trust it and actually follow its guidance. If you're new here, welcome. I'm your host, Paulina, and I'm a manifestation coach, and I'm here to take out the woo of manifestation and instead make manifestation simple and practical so that you can understand it from a logical point of view and apply it into your day-to-day life to finally manifest your dreams. I often talk about learning to listen to your intuition and learning to trust that inner guidance system, that voice that is constantly trying to communicate with you, because that's the fast track to your manifestations. It always knows the shortcut to getting you from where you currently are to where you want to be. The issue is that so often we're not tapped into our intuition. We have instead learned to listen to the other voice, the voice of our ego mind. And the voice of our ego mind is basically that monkey mind that is busy worrying, stressing, second guessing, procrastinating. And so most people are trapped living in fear and anxiety and always thinking about the worst case scenarios and really identified with their ego mind and following the ego mind's guidance, which is not bad. I just want to say that your ego mind is not bad. It's there for a reason. But the issue is that when it comes to manifesting and creating something new in your life, when you follow the voice of your ego mind, it often is bad advice and it often won't take you to your dream life because your ego mind is focused on your survival. And this is what you see a lot in society where you consciously want something new in your life, but then you follow the guidance, you follow those directions of the ego mind, and you just end up spinning your wheels and running in loops over and over and over again, wondering why you don't get different results, why you're not getting to where you actually want to go. And this is why. This is the difference between listening to the voice of your ego mind or listening to your intuition. The ego mind is not holding you back on purpose, but because it's focused on your survival and it's focused on keeping you safe. And the way that it does that is by keeping you stuck in the same place where you are today that you're trying to get away from. As the saying goes, a decision made out of fear is never the right decision. That is most likely just the voice of your ego mind talking. Have you ever asked yourself these questions? How do I know if it's my intuition speaking to me or if it's my fear or anxiety? How can I distinguish between the two voices and how can I learn to trust my intuition more? If you have, you're not alone. These are questions that I get asked a lot on my lives and from my members in the Manifestation Club, which is my monthly membership where your manifestations become your reality, and also from my private clients. Learning to differentiate the two voices and know whether it's your intuition speaking to you or it's just your anxiety or fear is so important. And this is why my coaching is heavily focused on learning to listen to your intuition because your intuition is really your superpower. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the difference between your intuition and your mind. Your intuition often feels like this inner knowing. You just know something, but you might not know how you know it. And here's the thing, your intuition lives more in your body. And so when your intuition is communicating with you, it can show up in many different forms. For example, in the form of different bodily sensations and feelings like goosebumps or gut sensations like a contraction, or it feels like an expansion. The more connected you are with your body, the more you will be able to pick up on these subtle sensations happening in your body because your intuition is speaking to you all of the time. And we will talk about that a little bit later in this episode when we talk about ways to tap into your intuition. Intuition is like a muscle because the more you use it and honor it, the stronger it's gonna get, and you're gonna learn to trust it and be able to tell how it speaks to you because intuition shows up differently for different people. Your intuition can also show up as thoughts and voices in your mind. And so this is where it's so crucial to learn to differentiate between the voice of your ego mind, which is fear and anxiety, and the voice of your intuition. The best way that I can describe the difference between the two is that your intuition is this energy that feels really calm, stable, and grounded, and it's not in a rush to get anywhere. So even if it's warning you of danger or something that may not be for your highest good and is trying to redirect you to walk on a different street in the middle of the night when it's dark and you're alone and you're about to go home, this energy feels neutral. There is no emotional charge. Compared to anxiety or fear, which are emotionally charged, like you will experience worry, sadness, or just tension in the body. Your intuition feels like this loving, clear, and gentle wave that is coming in, that is communicating something to you, and just like this deep inner knowing of, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to go here. And with the intuition, there can be a small sense of fear, but the peace overrides the fear because fear will always show up when there's the unknown. Because everything that you have ever wanted is outside of your comfort zone. So if your intuition is guiding you somewhere outside of your comfort zone, there can be fear and anxiety just because you're stepping into the unknown. And that can be deemed as unsafe and scary to the ego mind. So that's why the fear and anxiety kicks in. And then it's your job to distinguish between the two voices. There's a big difference between intuition and anxiety is rooted in fear, and it's usually a fear about the future. And intuition will just be like a message that is very clear and neutral. A lot of us experience anxiety or fear, and then we think it's our intuition. And it's so easy to mix them up, but anxiety and fear are always emotionally charged compared to your intuition that is neutral. A really practical example for this is when your intuition nudges you to do something or go somewhere. The nudge feels grounded, calm, and certain, and the decision feels good in your body. And then just a few seconds later, your logical brain comes in and makes you doubt the voice and makes you question that decision. And this is how your ego mind comes in and makes you doubt yourself so much that you talk yourself out of that experience and out of that decision that would have been the right one to begin with. Or when you're about to do something new, something that is outside of your comfort zone, then when you start getting these crazy, anxious, fearful thoughts and your palms start sweating, it's normally your ego mind trying to sabotage your success yet again because it senses that you're about to do something that is outside of your comfort zone, which means that you're about to get to your next level. So in short, the voice of your intuition is lovingly guiding you in the right direction, and the voice of your ego mind is just freaking you out. I also want to tell you that if there's this nudge or almost like an urge that feels panicky, bossy, and feels like it's in a rush, this urge is like layered with a very elevated emotional reaction. And there's this fear of missing out element, or just this activation in your nervous system where you feel like, I have to do this thing right now in order to feel good. Otherwise, I'm going to miss out and something bad is going to happen. This is not your intuition. And this is something that I see really often with the clients coming to me and also people showing up on my lives asking questions. They're like, my intuition is telling me that I need to reach out to my specific person right now. That is not your intuition. That is your ego mind trying to sabotage your success. And when it's the voice of your mind or fear or anxiety and not your intuition, there's a lot of rationalizing and overthinking. And it's the voice that feels stressed, panicky, frantic, and chaotic. And it's this voice that is often loud and in a rush, and it speaks fast, and it gives so many different directions that it's hard to keep track. When you start listening to the voice of your ego mind or to this fear or anxiety, it can feel really random when it contradicts itself. It's like, go here, go there, turn left, turn right. And it's like, make up your mind already. What do you want? The ego mind is this very reactive energy that lives in the past or the future. So it's your mind that is always trying to pull your attention in the direction of something that happened in the past or something that might happen in the future. So it uses your imagination to show you the worst case scenarios and what could go wrong. And it's bringing up all of these what if scenarios. What if this is going to happen? What if that's going to happen? When there's a lot of overthinking and a lot of shoulds, like, should I do this or should I do that? Should I go this way or should I go that way? This is a sign that the mind is taking over and there's a lot of reasoning and rationalizing rather than listening to your intuition. The issue with the voice of your ego is that it will never lead you to your dream life. And most people just cannot distinguish between these two voices, between the voice of your ego and the voice of your intuition. And this is exactly why they want something new, but they just end up going in a constant loop with getting one step ahead and then one step backwards, and one step ahead and one step backwards. Your ego mind will lead you to a life of comfort, which is not your dream life. So I hope that this makes more sense right now, that now you understand whether it's your anxiety that is just making an issue that's actually not there and constantly stopping you from making the decisions that are actually good for you, or if it's your intuition. Just remember this ground rule for how to know it's your intuition. If it's easy, it's your intuition. If it's complicated, feels like drama, like it's hard, and there's just a lot of stories, it's your mind. Okay, so how do you then tap into your intuition? How do you learn to listen to and trust your intuition? And it really comes with practice, but it starts with you silencing your ego mind. Because it really is hard to hear your inner voice, to hear that inner guidance that is often a softer and more quiet voice. If your ego mind is running wild and it's loud and noisy with a lot of doubts, worries, fears, and even anxiety. Of course, sometimes your intuition might scream at you when it's warning you from danger, but most of the time your intuition is this voice that tends to be quiet and soft. The quickest way to connect with your intuition is to silence your ego mind by tuning into your body and regulating your nervous system through a daily practice like breath work. I personally love breath work and I suggest it to everyone, especially when your mind is overactive and there's a lot of what if stories and a lot of overthinking and overanalyzing, and you're dealing with overwhelm or stress. Because breathwork helps you come back into your body and helps you process those negative emotions in a healthy way and release that built up tension, those built up emotions from the body. Breathwork is also really powerful for regulating your nervous system, and your intuition is just easiest to hear when you're feeling calm, and your ego mind is best tamed and becomes more quiet when you feel safe in the body, which breathwork helps you do. I would say that I have always had a strong relationship with my intuition. And over these last years, I've been finding ways of deepening my relationship to my intuition and just learning to trust it more. And it has been a result of a combination of coming back home to my body and finding safety and peace within myself, becoming more present in my day-to-day life and dealing with the mind and just silencing the constant mind chatter. And now that my ego mind is quiet, it just feels like peace, and it feels so good and so yummy. And the biggest shift for me to learning to listen to my intuition was nervous system regulation and stabilizing my emotional and mental levels, which was through breathwork. Breathwork really was a blessing for me to have found such a powerful modality. And the way that I even found breathwork in the first place is crazy, but that's a story for another time. And today I'm a certified breathwork facilitator, and that's why I have created a lot of different somatic work practices and breathwork practices inside the Manifestation Club, which is the monthly membership. I receive beautiful messages every week from the members inside the Manifestation Club and also from my private manifestation coaching clients about how they have been dealing with overthinking, overanalyzing, and with stress, overwhelm, and anxiety for years. And after doing the breathwork practices inside the Manifestation Club, their ego mind is super quiet and they experience this sense of peace that I'm talking about for the first time in their lives. And they're surprised how quickly they went from constant, anxious, fearful, bad, intrusive thoughts to having next to none. And this is the thing, it doesn't have to take long at all. It often just takes a few weeks. Other ways to connect with your body so that you can relax your mind and learn to listen to your intuition more is, for example, dancing or EFT tapping, which we also have inside the Manifestation Club, or painting, coloring, or writing. So it's anything that taps you into your right brain. You could also just create more spaciousness in your day and spend more time doing nothing. I know that we tend to feel bored when we do nothing because our society has taught us to constantly be on the go, to constantly do something and be productive. But if you can learn to do nothing and just, for example, sit in stillness and just be, then you're creating that space for those intuitive nudges and downloads to pop in. The last way that I'm going to give you here today to develop your intuition is to recall moments in the past where you listened to your intuition and everything worked out so well, like things were just flowing and you knew that it was the correct decision for you. So you can just recall those moments, those times in the past when you listened to your intuition and it was the right decision, and recall how you felt and how you knew that it was the right decision for you and what happened afterwards. Because when I reflect back on the best things that have happened in my life, where the biggest manifestations have come to fruition, it had a lot to do with listening to my intuition over my mind. Because in those moments, it didn't make sense to my logical mind why I would make that decision, why I would move there or go to a place. But once I was there, everything just worked out so well. I would love to hear those moments where you listened to your intuition and something amazing happened. So please send me a message on Instagram or send me an email with your story so that I can share it with my community and show everybody how powerful it is to listen to your intuition, because it really is your superpower. And also have fun with this. Don't be afraid of fucking it up, because you won't get this perfect every time. Sometimes you will follow your ego mind and you will follow that fear or anxiety instead of your intuition. And sometimes you will end up using logic and reasoning and convince yourself to go somewhere or do something, because you may pull out the pros and cons list and use logic through it, even if your intuition is saying something else. The thing is that you will best learn how to follow your intuition through experience and pattern recognition. And it will take some time and awareness to recognize those subtle nuances. Also, if you absolutely loved this episode and it helped you, please share it on social media and tag me, Paulina XENIA, so that I know that you loved it and it was helpful, and so that I know what you want to see more of. Ciao, ciao for now, beautiful.